Hey guys, Jack here. I just got finished filming the channel update about how I want to start moving in a new direction almost in the new year. And just to start that, this is something I was thinking about how in the past few years we've seen a lot of second year quarterbacks really take over the league by storm. We started in 17 with Carson Wentz, how he was rookie in 2016. He has ups and downs. Overall, had a solid rookie year. But then 2017, before the injury, was having a great year and on pace to win MVP. We saw this in 2018 with Patrick Mahomes. 17, his rookie year, everyone who had a lot of potential sat behind Alex Smith, and in 2018 took the league by storm. And then this year with Lamar Jackson, last year, he came in, started halfway through the year, made the playoffs. He looked solid, but showed a lot of weaknesses. But overall, he was okay. And now this year, he's gonna be the MVP, and the Ravens are the favorite to win the Super Bowl right now. So it made me think of the question: who is the second year quarterback from 2019 going into the 2020 season? Who will be the second year quarterback that'll, you know, be the guy, be the next guy? So, I pulled up on base football reference right here. The 2019 rookie class, and I sorted it by passing yards. And then I pulled up the 2019 Prism Silver prices of 7 quarterbacks who I think have some potential future in the NFL. All of varying degrees, but some future. Now, I'm still filming with my phone, which I have a tablet, which I'm going to try to start filming on, but right now I'm still using my phone. But so, if you want to take a look at it right now, here are the rookie quarterbacks, the main ones up towards the top. We got Kyler Murray, Gardner Minshew, Daniel Jones, Dwayne Haskins, Drew Lock. I didn't show Ryan Finley. I don't really know how much future he has. Will Greer, and Jarrett Stidham. And I'll mention as well for David Blough, who's not on this list because he was undrafted from Purdue, I believe. He's played a little bit for the Lions this year, and he's been okay. He had that good game on Thanksgiving Day. His autographs skyrocketed, but he doesn't really have a future. But so we look at it. Kyler Murray's got the most passing yards, followed by Daniel Jones. Followed by Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones, and those are the three guys that have played the most this year. And then you go to touchdowns. They all have over 20. Minshew has a lot less picks than the two. But Jones has the most touchdowns. Minshew has the best ratio. Murray has the most yards. You have Haskins in there, who started about half the year. Locke has only started a couple games. Greer, who started 2, and Stidham, who's only appeared in 1, I believe. Appeared in 3 apparently, but only threw passes in maybe 2. And this raises the question, there's potential here. This is a rookie class that at the beginning of the year, I didn't very much like. I thought it was just meh. I thought Kyler Murray was too small. I thought Daniel Jones was drafted way too high. I thought Haskins was going to be good. I thought Locke had some potential, and Greer maybe in a few years. Besides that, I didn't think Minshew. I don't think anyone knew. People knew about him. Some people, but no one really thought he would be what he became. Stidham, just because he drafted by the Patriots, some people had hype with him, but I didn't know until I looked at some of his games from college. But I've grown to like this rookie class a lot. Actually, it's I don't know. I think there's potentially be 7 quarterbacks that have NFL futures, and that's a lot. That's insane. We look at 2017. You have Mahomes, Watson, maybe Trubisky. Don't think I'm forgetting anyone else. You look at 2016. We have Dak, Wentz, Goff, Brissett. So that's 4. You look at, like I said, 2017. We have 3-ish. 2015 we have 2, and not even 2. Winston and Mariota, he's like not even 2, maybe 1, maybe none. Look at 18, we have 5 if you want to say Rudolph. 6. We have Baker, Darnold, Allen, Lamar. Rosen, I still think has potential. And if you want to say maybe Mason Rudolph, I don't really think. I don't think he's that good. But then yeah, you look here, and I found 7 who I think you can make very good arguments have futures in the NFL. So not in any order here. We're gonna start with Haskins. His price is right now around. I looked at the Prism Silver Autos, maybe around $30 for him, about 30. And a lot of these guys probably will take a little bit of a dip in the offseason. Maybe 1 or 2 will go up. None of them are in the playoffs, but maybe 1 will go up. It's because a lot of times people in the hobby like to key in on one quarterback in the offseason. It becomes really popular. Everyone starts talking about them, and then right before the season, their stuff goes up a ton. So for Haskins, I figured I'd show off the cards I have. These guys that I'm holding on to for now. I have a base rookie here from Prism. The lighting's really bad right now. A red, white, and blue. Yeah, the lighting's really bad. I'll show off these cards over here. We have a Optic Hollow, which that one's going off the PSA. I pulled that one. I actually pulled this one too. I pulled the base too. Prism Silver, which is going off the PSA. So for Haskins, around $30. You look at Haskins. He had what? He had 1,365 yards, 7 touchdowns, 7 picks. Not the best stat line. Played in 9 games, but let's dig a little deeper. And hopefully my phone doesn't cut out. Let's go to his game logs here from 2019. He started off with that one game against the Giants where he didn't start. He came in as a backup to Keenum, and he was terrible. He was flat out awful. But then we look, against Minnesota, he wasn't good. He didn't really play that much. Came in again. There was no consistency. And Washington, they're a terrible situation. Terrible coaching staff and everything. Then we go to the game against the Jets. Buffalo, where he played a lot. Buffalo. And he was meh. Very meh. Below average. We go to the game against the Jets, which I watched most of that game. He looked pretty solid. He looked competent, at least. And that was the first sign he showed of being, hey, maybe he's not terrible. We go to then against Detroit. That was he was not good in that game. He was very terrible. Then we go to Carolina. Once again, he was not that good. But then we look against Green Bay, a game that Washington almost won. If you watch the game, he wasn't that bad. He had a lot of drop passes, and he had a solid game, I think, personally. And then the last 2 games against Philly and the Giants, 2 games that they were so close to winning. He was very good in that Philly game. And then that Giants game, in one half, he had 2 touchdowns, 80% completion percentage. The one thing about Haskins that he showed a lot of growth. And I think that's very good and important for a young quarterback. And we all know he has the physical gifts. And they got rid of Bruce Allen. And, Jay Gruden got fired early in the year. I think Haskins, personally, my pick, I think Haskins is the guy. If I had to choose one today, I think Haskins is the guy. And at $30 of silver, that's nothing. Nothing at all. Look at Lamar's. Those are what? Those are hundreds of dollars. It's like PSA 10s are $100. Raw, they're still hundreds of bucks. I think they're in the thousands, PSA 10. But I'm not entirely sure. Let's go back. Let's take a look at Kyler Murray next. Kyler, his prices, his silvers are over 100, around 150, a little bit, give or take $25. I said give or take. The 125, give or take $25. Let's look at the stats this year, and this actually will be a 2-part video because my camera's probably gonna cut off soon. Overall this year, he had a good year. 3,700 yards, 6.9 per attempt, low. 20 touchdowns is nothing special really in today's NFL, and 12 picks. But for a rookie, those aren't bad numbers at all. Not bad numbers at all. We have his game log right here. He played a lot of games, so I'm not really going to go over him. And one thing about Kyler Murray that we didn't see progression from him at all really this year, in my opinion. He started out solid, and he ended solid. He was never terrible, but he was never great. He had a stretch against San Francisco, Tampa, and San Francisco San Francisco has a great defense. He carved up San Francisco this year. Over 70% completion in both games. Let's see. Over 70% completion in both games. 2 touchdowns in both games. Over 100 passer rating in both games. But he only had 3 games on the season with over 100 passer rating. And a whole season's worth of games. We looked at Haskins, who a lot of people said was really bad. He had, 2? Maybe even, I don't know. He might have had a third with over 100. You kind of want to be over 100. He was close a couple times. And I don't think Kyler I think he proved a lot to me. I did not think he was going to be good at all. But he proved a lot to me. I thought he was going to get hurt. He was going to be too small. And he didn't get hurt. And I think that's good. That's definitely good. Because it's similar things that happened with Lamar Jackson. People said he run too much, he's going to get hurt. And he didn't. Which that's good. Obviously, that's good. But, I think that I think he's going to have a good career. And I think I think that he'll have a good season next year. But the price is right now, I don't know if I'd be investing in the offseason. Just because the Cardinals, they're still going with Cliff Kingsbury again. Which, that could be good. I mean, he's a better offensive coach than I thought he would be. But he's not great. But just the problem is his silver price is just so much higher than all the other quarterbacks. He doesn't make as good of an investment option. Maybe if you want to invest in some base rookies, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, maybe if you want to get in some, maybe buy some and get them graded. Hope for some 10s. I mean, it's not a terrible buy, but I think the other guys are much better buys right now. Next we'll move into Daniel Jones. Right here we got Quinn Williams. Stupid computer lag. Here we go. We got Daniel Jones, the number 6 pick in the draft for the Giants, which are my second favorite team. He had the very beginning of the season, he was loved, and at the very end, he was loved. That's 3,000 yards, 62% completion, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks, 6.6 yards per attempt. Once again, fairly low. And we look at his game log. Dallas doesn't count, but against Tampa, his first start, that was the Giants' first win of the year. They won 3 games this year. That was a great game. He had 4 total touchdowns, and all Giants fans were like, "Oh my God!" We thought he was gonna be, we were so mad when we drafted him, and he's good. They were shocked, and there was a lot of hype in New York, a lot of hype when that happened, and then you get to the game to Washington, where he didn't look good at all. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. There were a couple bad picks. He looked like a rookie. And people were like, he still won. But then he went to that rough stretch where he lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. 8. And he played some tough teams in there, some good teams. Minnesota, New England, Chicago's okay. Green Bay's a good team. But 8 in a row is a lot. Now, against Detroit, he was amazing. He actually picked on Darius Slay a lot, which was that was interesting to see because Slay, if he had a down year, he was still a good corner this year, which was surprising. And then against the Jets, he had 2 big games in that stretch, which kind of inflated his numbers. The Detroit game and the Jets game. And he was good against Chicago. That was a game that they should have won, honestly, the Giants. And that Green Bay game, he was not as bad as... It was a sloppy game. It was snowing and stuff. He was not as bad as the stats say. Against Washington, he tore them up. And that was a great game. That was a great battle between him and Haskins until Haskins got hurt. But the thing about Jones is he showed a lot of potential. And he proved people wrong this year. And he didn't really show growth. I'm not going to say... Well, I take it back. He did show growth. He started off super hot. And then he had a lot of rookie mistakes. But then towards the end of the season, he had a lot more really good games. He strung some together, and that was good to see. I think, let's look at his price right now. Oh, I actually didn't go to sold yet. My bad. You're looking at silvers of about 135, similar to Kyler, I think him and Kyler are both solid investments. Depends a lot who they bring in for the head coaching job. It's gonna be interesting. The Giants are a better franchise in terms of collectability than the Cardinals, so that helps too. And he's in New York, and the Giants, they were not that far out of the playoffs this year. Look at that; their division is not a good one, and they weren't. There's a lot of games in there that they could have won, like they lost by one score. That could have changed things up a lot. So I think he's an okay investment. I don't think he's the next Mahomes though, or next Lamar, next second-year quarterback. I just don't think he is. Same thing with Kyler. I take it back. Kyler could be better chance than Jones. I don't think Jones is. Next, we're gonna look at Jarrett Stidham, who, Brady. Brady might leave. There's been talks about that, but I said there's a better chance Brady stays, and if Brady stays, Stidham's not gonna play. Stidham's also one of the older ones. He's 23. A lot of these guys are 22. He didn't really play this year. We don't have a lot to go off of. He's just, a lot of people love him in the hobby. He's a Patriots quarterback. If Brady leaves, if you want to buy him just on the speculation that Brady's going to leave next year, his stuff's going to be crazy in the preseason if Brady's not the quarterback. And they don't draft a new one. So, he's a decent buy again. I think he's a decent buy. His silver price is around $30, $35. 40, 31, 20, 40. So, his stuff's a little bit high for me, just because we haven't seen him enough yet. And in college, the problem was he was very accurate. He just wasn't. He was very. I don't really know how to articulate it. He was very meh. He was accurate. He was just meh though. He doesn't have an outstanding arm. He's not a great decision maker. That's why he fell to the fourth round. Physically, he's accurate though, which that's very important. And Belichick, if he can coach him up. Next up, we're going to look at Will Grier for the Carolina Panthers. A third-round pick, I want to say. Stidham was a fourth. Haskins was 15th overall. Kyler was first. Jones was 6th. And Grier was a third. A late third. This year, he was not good at all. 228 yards passing. That's over 2 games that he started. And 4 picks, 0 touchdowns. 53% completion percentage. Look at these games. He was terrible in both of them. The second one, he barely even played because he was so bad. And it said he's also one of the older ones. He's 24. And biggest problem with Will Grier is he just doesn't have that. He has an okay arm, not that great. And actually, I forgot to show for Jones. I actually have this one auto from Panini Legacy, the Futures patch auto. Actually, the first patch auto of the year. I bought this just to try to sell the show. And Stidham right here, I pulled this. I have it on eBay right now for a high price. Kind of no problem holding on to it. A Shadow Box auto, the luminous endorsements. Number 7 out of 10 from XR. And for Grier here, I got a Silver Prism, which I pulled. And then an auto from Elite out of 75, 23 of 75 that I bought in the preseason for very cheap. Grier, his stuff dropped a lot. $11 for a silver. So it was around $20 if I had to guess. 15 to $20. I don't know. I don't think Carolina is confident in him. And I've lost confidence in him. But after the first game I thought maybe. But then after the second one I'm out on Will Grier. I would not buy his stuff this offseason at all. Unless you find it in bargain bins, for super cheap, maybe if silvers for under 10, if they drop to under $10, autos under $10, take a chance on it. He's definitely not the next, the guy though. And next we're gonna look at Drew Lock, the quarterback, 2nd round pick for the Denver Broncos. Hurt for most of the year, but once he came in to start, I'm not